Hey friends, Neil here, coming at you with another Jersey Concept Friday. We do it every single Friday on the channel, so if you love hockey, if you love design, concepts, and you're new, please consider hitting the subscribe button. This week's designs are very cool from a series called City Connect. If that does sound familiar, you probably pay attention to other sports. I believe it was the MLB that did City Connect design jerseys, but the NHL's never really done anything like that. So this is a great opportunity for the designer to showcase his work. The designer is Tsunami Jerseys. We have looked at his work in the past. He's kind of rebranded his name a little bit, but I'm excited to jump in and see what these are all about. These are uniforms, not jerseys, 32 NHL uniforms. Let's jump in and see what he's got. Let's react together, have some fun. Let's go. All right, Anaheim coming up, and we've got, okay. All right. Wasn't exactly sure what to expect, so we'll be surprised as we go through this. City Connect, to me, means that something on the jersey or the design in general has relation to the specific city that the team is playing in. So on this one, we see Orange County on the front, and we see what looks to be a giant roller coaster. I have been to California. I think it's been 3 times I've been to California. Unfortunately, I've never been to Disney there or any kind of other parks. I guess I was to Universal, but that was in 2014, and that's north of LA, not in the Orange County, Anaheim region. So not exactly sure what that specific roller coaster is. I'm sure anyone from California knows, but I know that there are definitely some parks out there. I know there's Six Flags as well. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I think that this is, I guess, reasonable. Maybe is the best word, reasonable. If it is a City Connect kind of theme that we have here in this series, that's very reasonable. That's exactly what I might expect from a jersey. Not my favorite design, but exactly what I would expect. Let's move on. The Boston Bruins, now I see what I think is a state outline on the shoulder, but then again, maybe not. I have to look at the map again, but I like the jersey. It doesn't scream City Connect to me, but I actually really like the jersey. To me, it's more of a Winter Classic jersey, or like an alternate jersey or something. It's definitely good. I like it, and that says a lot because you have two very similarly sized objects on the front of the jersey, and that kind of breaks one of those rules on paper. You're not supposed to do that on a sports jersey. You're supposed to have one, or at least one big icon, logo, text, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. You've got one large element, and then you have secondary elements or tertiary elements. This has 2, so it kind of breaks that rule. But I say that with a bit of smirk, because it's a rule that you don't have to follow. It's not like it's against the law or anything like that. It's just one of those little design rules that most people follow, most designers follow. But with that said, this doesn't look that bad. So my point is that it breaks that rule, but it's okay to break rules sometime, and I think this is a good example of it. I don't mind that both the elements are relatively the same size. They are fighting for attention a little bit, but I think it's okay, specifically in this design. Next, the Buffalo Sabres. Well, I see the design on the shoulder, and I believe that is the graphic or icon from the city flag, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little bit hard to see on this concept because it is so small on the shoulder, but I definitely recognize that. To me, this doesn't scream city as much as the Anaheim one did, but it's still definitely different, and at least close up, it's city for sure. I kind of dig the just the buffalo on the front with no text on it. Sometimes we get the buffalo font with like the saber underneath or something, which looks cool, but I kind of just like the generic negative space buffalo on there. It looks good. Next, the Calgary Flames. This is a really good example, I think, of it's hard to say City Connect or City Jersey because there's no mountains technically in Calgary. They're way off past Canmore, or in Canmore, and then in Banff, obviously, the Canadian Rockies that are like, 40 minutes from Calgary. But you can see them from Calgary. So does that count? I don't know. But it screams Calgary to me. So absolutely fits right in the series. The jersey design is definitely pretty good as well. I'm okay with the logo. And I'm okay with the, I guess, intended sublimation print down at the bottom. Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, this is just a regular jersey in my opinion. It's the original kind of alternate jersey with the original version of that kind of logo, that alternate logo. To me, this isn't City Connect. I like it though. Like, I like it a lot. I like the uniform a lot, but not necessarily City Connect. So this won't be my favorite, but I do like it. Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean, it's definitely different. I absolutely immediately like it for that reason. You've got the kind of original logo there on the front, and then white as the primary color. I think that was a really good choice for this. It allows that logo to stand out nicely, and the stripes as well. Stripes on the arm, very traditional, just three stripes, and the stripes in the middle of the jersey is a continuation of the Ohio State flag, which you see there. And I think that is wonderfully represented and a great transition into the rest of the jersey in terms of striping. You're pulling that from the flag, you're putting it on the rest of the jersey, on the socks, on the arms, but then you're actually having the Ohio State flag on there. It's not city, but it's still representative of their location. So I think this is great. Next, the Chicago Blackhawks, and this is a take on their city flag. If you've never seen that, Chicago definitely has a bit of a weird city flag in terms of color. It's a very light blue with some red, some stars in there. It's really cool. It's one of the best city flags in America, actually. And I think this is well executed. I would have maybe preferred to not go with the light blue pants. Maybe just I'd have to see it in red to kind of, I guess, make up my mind. But it's almost too much light blue, and it's a really light blue that's close to white. So we're kind of approaching the painter's uniform just slightly, but it's good. Colorado, this is awesome. I love this uniform regardless of series, if it fits or not. In the middle of the logo, you've got that mountain. And Colorado, or Denver specifically, is definitely surrounded by mountains, and the team is called Colorado. It's not the Denver Avalanche, it's the Colorado Avalanche. So this really kind of has everything within Colorado involved in the team. So you gotta put some mountains in there for sure. Colorado is absolutely beautiful. The original Rockies colors, I think, was a great choice. This is great, love it. Dallas Stars, you have that Texas style logo, and I think this is likely the most logical choice for a City Connect jersey. It doesn't scream Dallas, but it screams Texas. You've got the Texas state colors in there as well. So this is absolutely the most logical choice, and it does look good. Detroit. Well, Detroit's called Motor City, so he's got that on there. I don't necessarily love it in terms of logo, and the text is okay on there. It's just, I don't know. I find myself missing the traditional Detroit jersey. I don't know what I would do in this situation. Detroit would be a hard one. I'd have to kind of sit down and kind of go through a couple of different iterations of designs to really get a grasp on what direction that I would want to go. I'd probably sketch out maybe 3 or 4 designs and then try and follow one. But this is maybe my least favorite so far. Edmonton. Well, I mean, how do you represent Edmonton as a city? If you've been there, you might have the same dilemma that I'm having, because I have been there relatively recently, and I don't know what I would do other than like exactly what's happening here. But what's happening here isn't that far off from regular concepts that we see from Edmonton. So I don't even know. Edmonton's a really, really difficult one. Their brand is already kind of surrounded around the location in Alberta, and what's that kind of known for? It's the oil industry and stuff. So I'm a little bit torn on this one. Oh, the Florida Panthers. Okay, this is really cool. This isn't Miami Vice, but it's really good. I like it a lot. I wasn't expecting it. The other ones were so much more tame compared to this one. This is so good. There's a gradient in the socks even. Following the same directional gradient as in the jersey, pink to purple in the socks. So this is really good. And the transition from the bottom of the jersey, you have those silhouetted palm trees, a bit of the water. You have almost like the sun becomes the moon a bit in this, and you have the reflection kind of lighting up the water, but keeping the silhouette of the palm trees. That looks really good. The transition from the black pants is phenomenal. I think this would be very, very popular. If this came out, this would sell so well. This is a rock star jersey. This is great. Next, the LA Kings. You can see Hollywood down there. It's very, very subtle. So as a City Connect jersey, I think that's maybe the direction you'd have to go for a couple of teams. LA might be one of those, because you could do a lot with LA. You could go over the top, which I think would be the wrong decision. So I think the right decision was made here by Tsunami Jerseys. And then also on the shoulder, you can kind of peek a star, which obviously, screams Hollywood. So I think this is pretty good, actually. So the Burger King guy is I don't see used well very often, but used here, it's actually okay. Whoa, Minnesota threw me off a little bit. I wasn't expecting that on the front. I don't think I've ever seen that on front of a Minnesota Wild jersey before. But Twin Cities, we got Minneapolis and St. Paul, and I've seen the bottom section of the jersey in I guess other concepts, not in this color though. We've got no green, we've got no yellow, we've got no red, we've got blue, a lighter blue, and then white. It really took me for a surprise here. So it definitely screams Minnesota, but I do find myself missing the green a little bit. Not necessarily the red, not necessarily the yellow, but definitely the green. I don't know what you would do to incorporate that in here. Like, it's a decent looking jersey actually, but yeah, I don't know. Oh, I just noticed you can see the St. Paul, and I think it says Minneapolis, or it says something in the other one as well, in the arm. That's pretty cool. Next to Montreal Canadiens. Is that off-white or silver? Yeah, it's almost like a silver kind of gray. I kind of dig it, actually. I think that looks pretty good. Slight like practice jersey vibes from this, but not bad. Now the striping in the background, just that simple red stripe and the blue stripe, I think that's really good. I like that a lot. It replicates very nicely into the socks. The pants being blue is the right decision. Helmet, gloves being blue, right decision. Logo's kind of where it loses me a little bit. You've got half of a Canadian Maple Leaf, you get half of a fleur-de-lis. Combined, it's just a little bit awkward. I don't know what you would do to represent Montreal. Like, you couldn't not use the fleur-de-lis, but I think using it like that is maybe a little awkward. Kind of like Detroit, I'd have to work out some concepts for this one. I think it's in the right direction, though, for sure. Great base to this one. Next, the New Jersey Devils. Yeah, this doesn't say City Connect to me personally. You're just kind of going back to those original 1982 colors from the Devils. Lots of green in there. It doesn't look bad. It's just maybe not so much City Connect. Next, Nashville. Well, I mean, absolutely with the stripes and with the logo, it screams City Connect. It screams Nashville. But in terms of a jersey design, I don't think it necessarily translates well into something that's maybe plausible. The repetitive pattern of the piano keys is just too much. It would have to be something subtle, like the warning pattern for Carolina. It gets very repetitive very quickly, so you have to make it almost a little bit more subtle. And I think this is too in your face. Make it more subtle. We might have something. The Islanders. See, this one is one that bothers me. The Boston one for some reason didn't. It might be because the general shape of the bear head was kind of round, and then the arc of the text was kind of round, where it's round text or arcing text, but then a very rigid kind of design underneath that with the outline of Long Island. So I'm conflicted with this one. It's definitely not my favorite. The Rangers, I mean, this is just kind of like what Reverse Retro, or a variation of Reverse Retro 2.0, Reverse Retro 1.0, and then the original Lady Liberty jersey. The shoulder is awesome. I really love the shoulder patch on there. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not necessarily city related, but it is because it's got Lady Liberty on the front. But this is maybe an easy one. I don't know what else you do, actually. Maybe incorporate the skyline somehow, but yeah. The Ottawa Senators, I personally like that logo. I've had conversations with people who don't like that logo. I would be okay with it. The jersey design in general is pretty decent. We've seen similar concepts in the past. I think this would say city. The Philadelphia Flyers, kind of like the Ottawa one. I've seen similar concepts to this with just like kind of like a silhouetted bell in there, the Liberty Bell, but it doesn't translate as a great silhouette. I think you need texture, you need some kind of 3D aspect to it, some kind of interior. It looks like an old telephone that you just I'm aging myself a little bit here, but you put the telephone down, and I'm not talking about a regular telephone. I'm talking about the one that goes up with the two things, and then it kind of barbells out kind of like that. And I'm talking like 60s, 70s telephone. Now, I wasn't born in the 60s or 70s, but I was born in the 80s, and those phones were kind of phased out by then, but they were still kicking around. So I get very telephone vibes when it's silhouetted, but it's okay. The Penguins, Here's a really good example of what maybe the Rangers one could have been. Do you put silhouetted buildings along the bottom? Maybe. That's the direction that the designer here went with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has so many bridges. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how many bridges that Pittsburgh has. It's unreal. So you just put it down there. That says city. Is it the best jersey design that we've ever seen on here on the channel submitted? It's definitely not. Is it acceptable? Absolutely. And does it say city? 100%. So I think this is pretty good for the series. Next, the Seattle Kraken. As a jersey, as a uniform, really good using the alternate logo. As a city jersey, I think it misses the mark. It's just a regular jersey concept to me, a regular uniform concept. San Jose Sharks. I kind of honestly say the same thing. Really good uniform, very cool, neat logo. Doesn't really say city to me that much. So I don't know what you do with San Jose in terms of city. Like, you don't want to incorporate San Francisco because San Jose doesn't play in San Francisco. No offense to San Jose, but there's not really anything iconic about San Jose. It's kind of boring. It's known for being part of the Bay, not necessarily because there's anything memorable about San Jose. Now, I'm only saying this because I've been to San Jose, and I don't think there's anything that really sticks out as iconic or anything. So I don't actually know what you do with San Jose in this situation. That's a challenge, kind of like some other teams. So I like that some of these series are easy because you pick things that are kind of easy to work from. City is difficult because you have definitely easy teams, but you have very difficult teams. I think San Jose is one of those. I don't know what I would even do for San Jose if I was doing this series. I'd have to workshop it. St. Louis. It makes sense. It is very logical for sure. It's also kind of retro. I think this would do well in any series, regardless if it was City, Connect, or just a regular alternate. I think it's a pretty well designed uniform overall. It's classic. It's retro. It's different enough from the home jersey where you still feel like it's the same team, but a little spicy, like a spicy version of the team. So yeah, we like that. Next, Tampa Bay Lightning. This is cool. I've seen that logo before, and I think the best usage of it might actually be in this series, where you want to represent Tampa Bay, but more importantly, Florida, the state of Florida. You can see that in the background. So you got the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then the state represented on the jersey. Now, showing the state doesn't show the city. There's also another team in Florida, but it's still related to their location, so I have to accept it for sure. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this one is very, very subtle, and I think I'm a little bit conflicted with this because I see two different generations of jersey here a little bit. I actually love the jersey. I think it's so good. I would love for the Toronto Maple Leafs to use some kind of Canadian flag or Canadian Maple Leaf design coming up the arm like that, so big. I think it's extremely logical. I would love that. The middle of the jersey is also beautiful. You've got the primary element being the maple leaf or a version of it. No text in there, which is fine. And then kind of like a separated stripe in the background, which looks good. Toronto underneath, which looks good. And then I'm not sure if you can tell, but a very subtle city skyline in the stripe. So City Connect fits right in. But where the disconnect happens for me is with the gloves and the pants. I don't feel like they belong with that jersey. I think the jersey's too modern to be paired with something so vintage in terms of like the brown gloves and the brown pants. So I would recommend maybe just going with blue gloves, blue pants, and white as the accent color on those. So it's good though. I like it. I love the jersey. Utah. This is definitely cool. I might offset the mountains a little bit so it's not so symmetrical. Symmetry is definitely very good in hockey, but the logo itself isn't symmetrical. So I think we could maybe play with the mountains, maybe make the peak off to the left or off to the right, and just not have it so symmetrical. But the transition from the pants into the bottom of the jersey, being black to black, looks really good, super modern, and very applicable to City or Utah. Utah has mountains around it, or Salt Lake City specifically has mountains around it. So awesome. Vancouver, as a uniform, absolutely. We've seen very similar concepts in the past. Some have been colored, black, yellow, and red. it works. Some have been colored like this. Blue is the primary and green as the secondary. And then some has green as the primary, blue is the secondary. They always work because it's a great design. It's very retro. But this doesn't scream Vancouver to me. Vancouver does have some iconic buildings. It does have some specific geographic stuff that you could pull, like it's right along the water. It's surrounded by mountains as well, kind of like Calgary. You've got big giant trees there, the big redwoods. There's definitely some city things you could do with Vancouver. So I think this is a really good concept. It doesn't fit the series though. Moving on to Vegas. This is a really good example. Not the greatest design, actually not my favorite at all, even close to my favorite, but it absolutely screams city. You've got the suits in there, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. That's exactly what Vegas is known for, cards and gambling and stuff. Like, this is what you want. This is a City Connect jersey. It's not the best Vegas jersey that's ever been made, but it's really, really good. So it's so City Connect. Next, Winnipeg Jets. I really like it. I think the jersey is actually very, very, very good. It's one of the best Winnipeg Jets jerseys I think I've ever seen. I love the white stripe in the background, just kind of splitting up the jersey. That's so good. The logo is also good. Red pants, totally fine with as well. Doesn't scream Winnipeg to me though. It's just their regular brand tweaked a little bit. So it can't be my favorite, but if this was just regular jersey concepts, it'd definitely be top 3. And then the last one, Washington. I think this is a missed opportunity, kind of like so I can't remember the other team that was a missed opportunity, but I feel like Washington has so many iconic buildings in there that you could have done something here to kind of really represent the city, whether it's the Capitol building or the White House or the Washington Monument, whatever. I don't know Washington that well, but I know there's a lot of iconic buildings there, but there's nothing in here. This just looks like a regular Washington Capitals jersey, which is fine. And I know that there's some flag design happening in here, which is okay, kind of like the Chicago one, but I feel like there's just a little bit more you could do to represent it with Washington because of the iconic buildings. So it's good, but it's not my favorite. My favorite, I hate to do it, but I think I have to. That the Florida one just took me by a complete surprise. I just was not expecting something so bold and well executed, I guess. It definitely screams Florida. Miami for sure. The colors are beautiful. It also represents a sunset. Florida is known for their beautiful sunsets. It's so good. It's really, really good. It's a little bit over the top, but that's kind of what City Connect jerseys are. So I think this takes the cake for me. So Tsunami jerseys, I think Florida, that was your best design. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you do like this kind of content and you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to submit some concepts of your own to the channel, I would absolutely love that. I'm running low on sets still, and details on how to do that is down below in the description. And if you're looking for a template to get, make sure you head on over to sportstemplates.net. They have the highest quality templates on the market. The template that you saw in this video, the full uniform template, that's available on that site. And if you use code post I can save yourself 10% on that. And that applies to any template on the site. It's not just the hockey one. It's not just the jersey one. It's all sports, all templates on the site. And make sure you take advantage of the free ones on there as well, because there are definitely, I think there's like 4 or 5 free ones on there. So if you've got Photoshop, man, get some of those free ones, have some fun, play around, come up with some designs and send them in. Like I said, details on how to do that are down below in the description. Hope you guys have a great start to your weekend. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button. That helps me a lot. We'll talk to you soon. Adios.